Welcome to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim. Every Wednesday, Mark and Kim, along with their special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Mark and Kim will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience, and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Mark and Kim are tested, certified, and professional spiritual mediums, metaphysical teachers, healers, and spiritual advisors with their own individual spiritual practices in Seattle, Washington, and Los Angeles, California. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Someone anonymously once said, we travel not to escape life, but for life not to escape us. Happy Wisdom Wednesday, inspired listeners. This is Inspired Living with Mark and Kim here on OMTimes Radio. Got my new chime bar here that I'm giving it first time on the air. Want to thank you so much for just joining us this afternoon for another episode of Inspired Living Radio. My name is Mark Lanehart, the Intuitive Prospector, and I'm here in Seattle, Washington, the beautiful yet hot Pacific Northwest. And if you want to find out about the work that I'm doing, whether it's a psychic reading, a healing, a spiritual connection through mediumship, please visit my site at marklanehart.com. You can also internet search The Intuitive Prospector. And if you are ready to explore and discover through mind, body, and spirit, then I am the prospector to help you find your own spiritual goal. So every Wisdom Wednesday for the last 99 episodes, if you can believe we've been doing this for almost 2 years, I have my one and only favorite co-host in Richmond, Virginia, Kim Falcon, founder of Love First. Kim, are you on the line?
I am, Mark. Thank you for such a nice and warm welcome. I look forward to this time every week, too. As Mark said, I'm Kim Falcon. The name of my practice, Love First, and offices in the beautiful city of Richmond, Virginia, and also Encino, California. And if there is anything that I can do to help support you in the way of readings, healings, or hypnotherapy, you can find me at lovefirst.info. I would love to hear from you. Just an announcement coming up for me, too. I'm going to be working at the Alchemist Bookstore. Not this Friday, but the next on the 18th and the 25th, the Alchemist Bookstore in Richmond, Virginia. It's really a beautiful place. It's got a very, very nice energy to it and really nice gifts and crystals and just all good things for the soul. So I hope you'll stop by and visit me there as well. So, Mark, you said it's hot in the Pacific Northwest, huh?
It is. We just set a record for the, when you think of Seattle, you always think of rain. And actually, we just set a record for the longest days, 55 consecutive days without measured rainfall. So we're loving it out here. We'll take advantage of that. But, the downside of that, when you have this much hot weather, our air quality is pretty bad because of all the forest fires out there. So I just want to give an Inspired Living shout out to all the forest fires or all the firefighters that are fighting the forest fires out there, putting their life on the line to, try to put these fires out. Because our air quality, actually, Seattle has worse air quality than Shanghai. So that should tell you a little bit about the smoke that's kind of engulfed us. So that's the only downside about having hot weather, but I'm sure the rains will return.
Yes. Well, coming from California, we experience that every year. So, yes, we do want to give a shout out to all the men and women in uniform that help us every day in our lives. If you would like to interact with us on social media, you can find us on Facebook under Inspired Living Radio. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram under Inspired for Us and Google Plus under Inspired Living with Mark and Kim. And check out on Facebook and other platforms. We'd be happy to have you be a part of our community on social media. It's a great way to keep in touch with everybody and to see what's coming up on the show and Just other announcements that we might make. You can also listen to all of our archives on OMTimes Radio, Podbean, SoundCloud, marklanehart.com, lovefirst.info, YouTube, and iTunes. So it's great that if you miss one of our live shows or you just want to hear it again, you can find us across many different platforms, available on demand at any time. As you know, we do have call-in lines, and we'd love to take your questions, whether it's for us or for the guests, our special guest today. And the call-in line is 202-570-7057. And every month we have our inspired affirmation. This one I just really love. It is, I don't have to be anyone but myself. Who I am is enough. You are enough. I am enough. And we need to put a nice period right after that. We are enough, just as we are. So remember that. And I'm really excited about our guest today. It's what she's done and she's doing with her company is pretty cool. In fact, I'd like to sign up myself.
Me too.
Yeah, there's some good. She's got some good trips there, and just the importance of wellness when we travel. I mean, I'm particularly interested in this too because my husband does a lot of traveling for work, and over time it can take a toll on you. You really got to be mindful of taking care of yourself when you're on the road, sleeping right, eating right, making sure you're still getting exercise, doing all the things that you would do at home when you are away. And so I'm really excited to hear what she has to say.
Yeah, I agree with you. And being that I have a big trip coming up in about 3 weeks myself, I'm going to be asking her some questions. And we have retrograde right around the corner, so I want to get her opinion on how traveling through retrograde can impact us. But just want to just say thank you again for joining us here. If you're an inspired listener all around the world, we love our inspired listening community. Like Kim said, you can call in at 1-202-570-7057. That is here in the United States only. If you're outside the United States, please post a question on our closed Facebook page, which is Inspired Living Radio. We also have an interactive map up now on the Facebook page, so you can actually go to this Facebook page, click into the map, put a little pin, let us know where you're at in the world, and I'm excited to see all these little pins start popping up all around the world. So check that out on the Inspired Living Radio Facebook page. And let's introduce our guest and welcome her as a first-time guest to Inspired Living Radio. Again, I've got my chime bar here, Kim. It's brand new, and I'm doing some new software through my Mac. So Linden Schaffer is a wellness travel expert and consultant. She was, early in her career, she was on a very glamorous yet painfully fast-paced fashion career. She realized the way she worked was turning into a tightly wound little ball of stress and tension, and we don't want that, do we? So before every business trip, Linden conducted hours of research, planning for her own self-care and her few precious hours of downtime. It changed her life, and today Linden travels around the world on wellness tours with Pravassa, creating group and individualized itineraries for the people and companies that are looking to restore productivity, and creativity is her passion. Since having founded Pravassa, the first wellness travel company in 2009, she has been recognized as a leader in her field. Linden is a winner of the prestigious British Airways Face of Opportunity contest and contributes to columns in the Huffington Post, The Mind Body Green, where she writes about wellness, travel, and lifestyle. She's a regular speaker at conferences around the country, including the New York Times and Los Angeles Times travel shows. She has participated in the international conferences in Colombia, India, and Spain in order to bring wellness travel opportunities to these countries. Roman and Litfield will publish Linden's first book, and I think it's actually already out, Living Well on the Road, with the foreword written by famed actor and travel writer Andrew McCarthy. And the book should be out, so we'll get Linden on the show to introduce her, and also where we can pick up this wonderful book. When Linden is not traveling the world, she's based in New York City. So I believe Linden is joining us today live from New York City. Is that correct, Linden?
Hi. Yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being on Inspired Living Radio. We're so excited to talk to you and get all of your knowledge and ideas about traveling. I do a lot of traveling myself, and we're going to be coming up on our first break here in about 2 minutes. But just give a brief introduction. Give a shout out to all the Inspired listeners out there listening around the globe, and just say hi.
Hi, I'm so thrilled that everyone's joining us today. I think this is a really important topic, and especially here in the U.S., wellness has become such an important part of our lifestyle that we all need to be practicing some form of it every day. And I wrote this book, and I started my company, Pravassa, because I felt that you shouldn't have to leave your idea of wellness at home when you travel.
And what does the word Pravassa actually mean? Where does that concept, if you want to explain?
Pravassa came from, it's a Sanskrit word, and so it came out of when I started my company, wellness travel was not a segment of the market that was recognized yet. So I wanted to pick a name that people didn't really have a preconceived attachment to or an idea what the word meant, and it translates to journey from Sanskrit. So it's this great meaning. It's exactly what we're taking you on a journey, whether it's through the book or whether you take an actual trip with us, and it's a great place for people to start where they had no preconceived notion, so we could get them from the ground up.
Oh, I love that. And just real quick before we go to our first break, Linden, where can folks find you so that maybe they can click on your website, get your book as we're going through the next 45 minutes of the show, and start to peruse the website and just get a better understanding of the work that you're doing?
Yeah, online at our website or in any social media handle, you can find us at Pravassa, which is Pravassa, so Pravassa.com or at Pravassa on social. There is a link to the book, but the book is called Living Well on the Road, so you can find it at livingwellontheroad.com, or you can do a search on Amazon. It became a #1 bestseller upon release, so I'm thrilled to share that with everybody.
Congratulations. Yeah, I saw that it was released early in 2017, so congratulations on that. And with the sound of the music, perfect timing. We're going to head into our first break. We'll be back here in 2 minutes. We're talking about living well on the road, health and wellness for travelers with our very special guest, Linden Schaffer. Stick around. We'll be back in 2.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Are you seeking answers to life questions? Would you like to connect to a departed loved one? Are you suffering from pain, stress, or anxiety? Kimberly Thalkin is a tested, certified, and professional psychic, spiritual medium, energy healer, hypnotherapist, and the founder of Love First, where life transformations happen. Love First services support, guide, and empower individuals by connecting them to their highest potential to live a healthier, joyful, and meaningful life that's filled with purpose. All services can be done by phone, Skype, or in person in Encino, California. Please visit lovefirst.info. That's LOVEFIRST.info for more information.
Aloha, my name is Jennifer O'Neill, and I'd like to invite you to come join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time for my show, Spirit Chat. Spirit Chat focuses on simplifying the process of using the spiritual tools and gifts you were born with in a way that fits into your everyday life. I also teach different techniques that will help you learn how to navigate the spirit realm and empower you on your own spiritual journey. So join me this Wednesday as I guide you through the spirit world.
There are many sounds in your daily life. Ones that make you smile. Ones that help you relax. And there are some sounds that can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you critical information about emergencies in your area. With updates from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know wherever you are. Learn more at ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Inspired Living Radio with Mark and Kim here on OMTimes. If you want to call in, our lines are open, 1-202-570-7057. This is a perfect opportunity to talk about wellness and health for travelers. Our topic today is living well on the road, health and wellness for travelers, with our very special guest, Linden Schaffer, joining us live from New York. So welcome back, Linden.
Hi.
So I'm getting ready for a big trip, and I'm going to Europe here in a couple weeks for the month of September, so I'm looking forward to that. So what are some basic tips for health and wellness that I can tap into while I'm traveling abroad next month in September?
Well, first of all, that sounds amazing.
It is. I'm excited.
We'd all love to be going with you. So if you have some extra room in your suitcase.
In the suitcase. It's pretty small, I'd be honest with you. It's a carry-on suitcase, so it's pretty small.
Okay. Number one rule to traveling well, carry on suitcase, because that's a perfect place to start, actually, because if you think about the stressors that go into traveling, a lot of it is planning. And a lot of it is getting prepared to go. And so there's easy ways that you can start and help reduce your stress before you even leave your house. And one of those is deciding that you probably need to travel with less than you actually think you need. So if you give yourself something like a carry-on suitcase, immediately you're putting yourself in a position where you're eliminating lost luggage because it will be with you the entire time. You don't have to wait at baggage claim when you arrive. You can get right into your transportation and you can start your vacation. And there's in my book and on our website, we always have little packing trips. Like if you use packing cubes, you can fit more stuff in your suitcase. So if you're that person who decides they can't live without certain things on the road, then find a way to pack that maximizes the space in your suitcase. The other thing that you can do that I tell my travelers for health and wellness is to start like a little wellness goodie bag of things that you know you're going to need with you on the road, and you can always keep it packed and keep it in your suitcase, so you don't have to go looking for things like your passport. I always travel with things like essential oils, and I wipe down the plane so that I don't get sick when I travel. I have with me various remedies, and elixirs and all those kinds of things. And if these are things that are specific to your travel routine, if you leave them packed, it eliminates the stress of looking for, where did I put that thing that I really want to take with me? It's already in one place. So you're sort of starting off in the first place at a lower stress level, which I think is very important. The other thing that's going to set you up for a great vacation before you even leave is something that I call a pre-travel routine, which is something that I myself have been perfecting year in and year out and often with tweaks. But it's basically a 24-hour routine that I talk about in the book that will give you an opportunity to do things like prevent jet lag, to help keep you healthy in flight, to help you feel better once you arrive. And those are things like 24 hours before you leave. If you think about you're going to get on a plane and you're going to be sitting for a long time, going to Europe or even going to Asia from the U.S., more than likely you're either doing an overnight flight or a 7-hour minimum kind of flight. If you're going from the West Coast, you have an even bit longer flight. So you're basically, if you're not sitting the entire time, you're sitting a lot. And so it's important the day before you leave in that 24-hour time period to get in a workout, and whatever workout that is for you. But knowing that you should make time for that because you're going to be stationary, you want to set yourself up for feeling better. The plane is dehydrating. So if you can, you want to lay off alcohol and excessive coffee before you get on the plane, because these are things that contribute to jet lag, and they're just going to make you feel worse once you arrive. And so if you can start yourself on a routine that mitigates some of those potential effects that will happen in your body, it sets you up to feel even better by the time that you arrive.
Very interesting. Because it's a 9-hour flight for us. We're actually heading to Italy to start, and then another 2 hours to get down to the island of Malta. So a lot of traveling. You were carrying on, but I didn't think I knew that it dehydrates you. What about like wearing, because of the sitting? What's your take on, like, I wear compression socks to help with the blood flow when you're sitting for so long, or nasal drips, the nose tends to get really dried out with that air in the airplane. Are there little, you talked about elixir oils, and I bring wipes myself to wipe down the trays to avoid getting sick. What are some helpful tips for that during the flight? Do you get up and exercise and walk around on the plane, or are there little things that you can recommend for that?
Yeah, I do. And I'm not a doctor, so I just
Sure.
disclaimer, not giving medical advice, but I too wear compression socks. And, you have to be careful. You want to still walk around for sure. And you want to, if you have the opportunity, don't wear the compression socks on your way to the airport. Put them on just before you get on the plane. The rule of thumb is you should drink 8 ounces or a small bottle of water for every hour that you are flying. That will keep you hydrated. It will also keep you going to the bathroom, which is a great excuse.
Helps you get up, right?
Get up and walk. Yeah, to get up and walk around. The flight attendants and the staff, you want to be respectful of their time and their space, and this is their work environment, which is why they tell you not to hang out in the galley. But if you have an opportunity, if people are sleeping and it's the aisle, or if you're waiting for the restroom or something like that, to stretch a little bit and just get your body moving. It depends how comfortable you feel and how much space you have. But doing like simple little squats are a good full body exercise that gets everything pumping. And you could do, 5 of those every time you go to the bathroom or something like that. And that's something that will keep you moving. The water itself will help a little bit with that nasal drip. I do use a combination of different products that have cinnamon and clove and those kinds of eucalyptus, and I rub the balm either under my nose or on my wrist, and I'm constantly smelling it, which helps with a lot of that as well, congestion. The other thing, if you're able to do it, and this is something that is the fastest way to prevent, the easiest and fastest way to prevent jet lag or help you recover from jet lag, is to completely fast on the plane. The reason for that is aside from, and that's not for everybody. And it can take time to work up to a wellness routine like that if it's not a regular practice that you have in your life.
Well, especially if you're in business class, free alcohol and food.
And it is. And I have to tell you that even though that's lovely in business class, people think the food is higher quality. While it might be to start with, you have to think about the process that food goes through, right? So typically those meals are made weeks, if not months in advance, and frozen, and they're waiting for your flight. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter how good the quality of the food is. It's the reason, if you miss dinner, they won't reheat your food for you, because that happens once, and then the meal's no longer good. And when you're at the altitude that you're in with the cabin pressure that you have on a plane, it dulls your taste buds and your senses. And so in order for food to taste like you expect it to taste, they have to add preservatives and salt and other things to the food to enhance those flavors. So even if you're starting with a product that's good food, let's say, or sourced from a good location, by the time it goes through the process that they need to put it through for you to eat it, it doesn't come out very healthy. And so I know it smells good and everybody else is eating around you. I would say if you are unable to fast for the entire time, then bring your own snacks because what's in that food. It will maybe not be as exciting as what you're being served, but by resting your system and then by eating your first meal when you land on the time schedule of where you land, your circadian rhythm will start to adjust much faster than if you were to sort of continue whatever routine the plane put you on. If you notice, now that I'm telling you this, you might notice, but you might have noticed before, the airline staff, they don't eat the food, the airplane food. They bring their own food. And if you ask every flight attendant, most of them wouldn't touch that food in a million years. So, they know some stuff. So that's a good lead to follow for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, I've just completely lost my appetite. None of that sounds appealing. My goodness. Oh, my gosh. And the thing is, when you bring your own food, you have to you can't actually bring it from home, right? I can't, that doesn't go, you have to get it at the airport, right?
Nope, I bring my food from home.
You bring it from home. Okay.
Yep.
You just can't bring liquids. Okay.
You just can't bring liquids. So
you just can't bring the liquids.
What I'll do, if you want like a vegetable pasta dish, let's say, so you cut up, your peppers and your carrots and your zucchini or whatever vegetables you put in your pasta. You pre-cook whatever kind of pasta you want, and then what I'll do is I'll put it in 2 separate Tupperware containers, and I will put a little olive oil so that the pasta gets a little dressing or the vegetables get a little dressing, and then I'll combine them. I've done that. I do things that taste good, not warm. So like I'll do a quinoa salad. Things like this that can travel and they can last, 10 hours or that kind of stuff. I have also that I love to have handy in emergencies. Justin's almond butter does these individual packs, which you can find either at the grocery store or on Amazon. They'll let you through security with those because they're individually packed, and the individual packs are less than the 3 ounces. And that's a great, protein-rich sort of snack, emergency snack saver that feels a little more special than just a handful of almonds.
Yeah, and I love these suggestions that you have. My goodness, do you have like airplane recipes in your book? Like the ones
I don't, but maybe you just gave me ideas for the next one.
I think so, because what you said now, I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy or whatever, but just talking through some of these ideas I think are kind of helpful. I think you might need to add a segment on that or your website.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just mentioned just the little packets and the pasta and all that. That sounds really good. Now, people are on the run every day, whether it is they're traveling or just their schedules of going to work, managing the family schedules, picking up kids, etc. That I feel like a lot of the things that you're talking about is a good practice to get into even when you're at home, because a lot of people aren't taking the time to take care of themselves just in their daily lives. So I kind of like all the things that you're suggesting.
Yeah, and that really was the reason for writing this book. So the book, which took about 2 years because I was still traveling in between writing all this, for it to actually come out, has different sections on how, what is good sleep, how to get good sleep, how to stay fit, how to eat the right foods, how to sustain these routines and be successful with them. And what this grew out of is that the wellness vacations that we offer with Pravassa, we do group trips and we do private travel for people. And when it comes to the group trips, I'm on a lot of them, and I'm helping to guide and escort the trips and providing this wellness component. And what would happen is my clients would sign up for a vacation because they would see what we were offering and say, yes, this is what I need. I'm in a time in my life where I'm either feel burnt out or I just really need some self-care and I don't have time to figure any of this out myself. So I'll take a week or 10 days and go travel somewhere fabulous with you. And they would get on these trips and they would learn to relax and they would get all these great tips that we were giving out. And then they would say, I'm so excited. I'm going to go home and my life is going to change. And they'd go back into their own routine. So that's why the book was important.
Very important, yes, because people are creatures of habits, and so I like where we're going with this conversation. I think it's going to be helpful to a lot of people, but that's our lead into our second break here. Stay with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes as we continue our conversation of wellness.
The cutting edge of conscious radio. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
One planet, 7.3 billion people. only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Mark Lanehart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Mark's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Mark's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marklanehart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Tune in to The Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World with me, host Robin Fritz, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. I'll cover personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice, and more, all to help you tap your own intuitive and healing skills. No ifs, ands, or buts.
America's service members and veterans are strong, forged out of bravery, sacrifice, and duty. Sometimes reaching out for help can be the most challenging and worthwhile mission of all. When you recognize something isn't right, make the call to the Veterans Crisis Line or Military Crisis Line. Dial 1-800-273-8255 and press 1.
And welcome back to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim and our special guest, Linden Schaffer, today as we talk about wellness, just wellness in general, but in particular as we look at travel and wellness. So before we went to break, Linden, you were talking about, and I want to definitely talk more about introducing your business, Pravassa, what you do at Pravassa, because it just sounds wonderful. But you're people going on your wellness trips and then coming back and falling into the same patterns in their day-to-day life they were going on your trip to get out of, and then coming right back into that pattern when they come back.
Absolutely. And it's something that's very hard to break, and it's a very conscious decision that you have to sort of sit down and say, this is a new path that I want to explore. I think what happens with wellness, because it's such a broad field and there's so many resources out there which are wonderful, it can be intimidating. People just don't even know where to start. And so what I was trying to do by the fact that they would travel with us, when they came home, we were still giving out information about how to use these tools. But like you said, people were too busy or this or that, the other thing. So the book came to be because people wanted more information and they wanted more context. And what I wanted to show, not only the people who are traveling with us, because you don't need to go on a Pravassa vacation to start a wellness routine or a wellness routine that you can travel with. So it was important to me to write this book and to break it out in sections, and for the sections to not only tell a little bit of my story and how I came to all of these things and the journey that I've been on, which is always evolving, even now, but to show that there is science behind a lot of this stuff as to why it works. I think that in our fields, sometimes people are a little shy when it comes to certain aspects because they're unsure where it fits maybe in the current belief system that they have, or if things work or if it's just anecdotal. And so certain things like how you eat, how you sleep, meditation, these are very basic things that some of us do that have real scientific evidence behind them that shows why they work. And so I think that's the first thing, is people have to find an area of their lives that they want to improve in. Don't try to improve everything at once. Pick one little area and find something that connects you to that area. And if you start down that path and it doesn't work, or you feel like you're failing, don't be hard on yourself. Find something that you are ready to connect with. So if that's creating a fitness routine or some kind of movement routine every day, if it's important to you to get better sleep, the easiest thing to do, we're all addicted to all of our digital devices. And so the easiest thing to do that many people besides myself talk about is you sleep with your phone in another room. When you're ready to go to bed, make your phone a technology-free, your bed a technology-free zone. And something as simple as that can have such a monumental effect on how you feel and how you sleep better throughout the night. Then it sets you up to start the day better and feel better. And so you make one small change like that. I talk about mindfulness in the book. And some people can be very intimidated by meditation. And so you start with a mindfulness practice before you get a meditation practice. A mindfulness practice is literally taking yourself into the moment, even if it's for 1 second, when you consciously stop and you think about just yourself in that moment. And once you do it for 1 moment, you can add it to 2 moments, to 3 moments. Before you know it, you get to a minute. And you do a breathing exercise, and then you continue to build on it on a way that's manageable for you. And that one small little change, whatever that change is for you, is where the difference starts and makes things seem more manageable.
Yeah, and you talk about just 5 minutes a day, daily practice of 5 minutes, where you're taking time to just connect to yourself, connect to life. Starting your day in that way, setting you up for success in that way as well, with as simple as 5 minutes. And really, in the scheme of things, when it comes to wellness and feeling good and happiness, I think we can put 5 minutes aside for ourselves if that's what we're guaranteed, which it is over time. I mean, that's the benefit of meditation, right?
It's a benefit of meditation. I think breath is a huge part of it. You remember when you were a little kid and you hurt yourself or something happened and your mom would say to you, just breathe, right? When you were crying, you were to a point where you couldn't catch your breath, and that was her advice. Today, that advice is still valid. If you're in a work situation, maybe you're in a work situation where tension is building and you need to walk away, or you've had a crazy day and you feel like you can't get a handle on everything, go to the restroom and take 1 minute and just close your eyes and breathe, and your whole situation can change in that 1 minute, and you have control over that situation. We tell people, sometimes people say, oh, well, it's not work, it's my family that's a stressor, or, holiday season, which can be a big stressor for people. Excuse yourself and go wash your hands. You don't even have to go to the bathroom. Wash your hands, and for 2 minutes while you wash your hands, have your meditation of feeling the water on your hands, concentrating on that and taking yourself out of that stressful situation. And I think, again, if you don't have 5 minutes, you start with a minute.
Right, exactly. Because I bet, although I bet what people would find is if they started with a minute, they would build up to 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, because it would make them feel better. They're going to notice a shift in how they feel. So
exactly.
I think that'd just be yeah. But and it's interesting when you said breathe, because breathing is such a powerful way to help us feel better that we don't even think about it, because it's just something we do just without thinking every day. But the power of the breath is definitely there, and it just brought me back to, with my own daughter when she's crying or upset, that's the one thing we say is breathe, just like you said. So, and, I've noticed on your website, too, I mean, we're talking about the trips that you do are to beautiful places like Vietnam and Costa Rica and Bali and all these great places, but you have a segment on your blog where you talk about you can create a day of wellness, a vacation day of wellness right at home. I mean, just taking a day off from work in your own vicinity. You don't have to get on a plane and go out of the country to do that for yourself. And I really like that. It was some very interesting tips on there on how to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's great because, again, people have to start somewhere. And the vacations that we offer, we love them, we value them. I've been doing this for a while, and we offer proven, vetted vacations to the locations that we offer. And the fact that we are the only wellness travel tour operator in the world, people come to us for these specific vacations. But that being said, you can do it at home. And it's a little different than a staycation because it starts with your intention. Your intention for this kind of a wellness, one-day wellness vacation is a little bit different. And the biggest thing that I think will help you make a difference with that is not only to choose your day, but I always suggest a day in the middle of the week. So like this Wellness Wednesday that we're talking about, it's great because almost everyone else in your life will most likely either be at work or have some kind of thing that they do on the weekday that will take them out of the space. So you're not, if you have that FOMO idea where like, oh, I can't do it on a Saturday because I'm going to miss all these plans that I'm supposed to have. On Wednesday, you're not going to miss much. So pick a day pick a day in the middle of the week and, plan it like you would plan a vacation. Do some research ahead of time. Set up the expectations of others around you. Just because you're still at home doesn't mean you're not going to be on vacation. So let's say your thing is you cook for your family all the time. So cook in advance for them, or just let them know, hey, I'm taking the night off and I'm going to a restaurant by myself.
I'm thinking that, hey, I'm taking a night off sounds better.
Yeah.
But, when you talk about these activities and stuff, what kind of activities does a wellness vacation include?
Yeah, it's a good question. So what makes a wellness vacation a wellness vacation? For Pravassa, I have created a 5-tenet wellness philosophy that is the foundation for all the trips that we create. And for me, what that means is I look at these 5 areas when I'm doing trip planning and creating these bespoke itineraries. And those 5 things are breath, movement, mindfulness, nourishment, and experience. And what's great about those things is they're all health and wellness related, but they look different in every place in the world that we travel. So what I do is I take that foundation and I curate wellness travel experiences that are real world experiences that the clients can enjoy. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the next segment.
That would be great, Linden. I can't wait to hear. You really put some thought into these experiences for your clients that just sound wonderful. So stay with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes with our special guest, Linden Schaffer.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
I am Fidel Nsombo. I was born in a city called the Bukavu in the Congo. We were a loving family, and then, boom, everything that I had disappeared in a single day. People think that when you are a refugee and they resettle you to America, and all your problems are done. They don't understand that that's the beginning of everything. I was not born a refugee. I was made one.
It's time we welcome refugee families with open arms. Learn more at embracerefugees.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim and our special guest today, Linden Schaffer. So, Linden, before we went to break, you were talking about all that you do to prepare for these trips. So go ahead and continue this explanation, which I'm just captivated by because it sounds so great. I want to sign up today.
Well, good. We would love to have you. The 5-tenet philosophy that we created, aside from going into having a cultural experience in the destinations that we visit, the primary need and focus for me when I create these vacations for our travelers is to address their self-care needs. And I understand everyone's time constraints. So what we're trying to put together is authentic real-life opportunities for people and travelers who are with us to engage with the world around you and help you redefine what happiness means. And so what's great about that is it is very specific when it comes to wellness and how I approach these vacations, but it also leads to completely different experiences in very different parts of the world and the time of year you're traveling. So it can be a great mix. So to give you some examples, I'm on my way to co-lead one of our group trips to northern Vietnam, and we're doing this trip in conjunction with a mindfulness psychotherapist. And so it's this great coming together of we're going to 4 destinations in northern Vietnam. We're doing things that are very locally oriented, like everyone gets to visit a holistic medicine doctor while we're there. We're doing things like we're going over a full moon. So we're participating in a local full moon celebration and doing yoga with the full moon. And it's a light celebration. So we're like creating our own lanterns to honor the full moon. We'll be doing things when we're sailing in a little known area outside of Ha Long Bay, and that particular timing has no Wi-Fi access. So we're doing a 2-day digital detox for everyone. So these are things that it's a mixture of health and wellness concepts that we feel really can help you change the way you approach your life and your vacation, mixed with local cultural things. Our mindfulness psychotherapist leads meditation every day. So we have wellness education there. We're going to Bali at the end of September, and we still have spots left if any of your listeners want to join us. And we're working with a woman named Dr. Andrea Page. And not only is she a naturopath, but the focus for that vacation is food and how we nourish our body. And Bali has super fresh food and a huge history of how they use their food for healing. So we have food as medicine cooking classes, and we do market tours.
Wow.
And so every vacation is a little bit different, and that's the groups that people can sign up for. We do private travel, and so when we do private travel and we work one-on-one with someone, we kind of go through the list of, we do most of our travel in Asia. So we have destinations that we specialize in. Those destinations come with sort of built-in historical wellness attributes. And so we talk through that, and then we find out what is it the traveler really wants? What are they trying to do on this vacation? Are they trying to reconnect with themselves? Are they more interested in having some kind of breakthrough, so they want to think differently? So we'll like take them to India and do a very fascinating wellness tour through India, or if they want to concentrate on Ayurveda in India. So we have different techniques and really work one-on-one with people when we do that private planning.
And I want to add now, this is just a little comment that the staff, mind you, that you have are pretty easy on the eyes. I was like, all of them. It's like, my goodness. So just that alone, you'll come back feeling happy, surrounded by nice people. Okay. So.
Thanks for that little tidbit, Kim.
I just had to throw that in there. No, everything from this, their backgrounds are pretty impressive too. So not only that, but you're getting it looks like very qualified people that help support, add support on the trip. So you are doing an awful lot, Linden, to encompass. Everything feels very comprehensive in terms of your offerings.
Yeah, and that's what we hope. We want to be able to gift people. We know that when you travel with us, in the U.S., we have very limited time to get away, and you want to be able to use that time wisely, and you want it to work for you. So we want to make sure that we're offering things that speak to that for you, and that we're doing it in a way that's with qualified people.
Well, and I'm just thinking after I get back from my lovely trip in Europe in September, I might have to start planning a trip with you to take me down to Costa Rica for some time in 2018. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of just listening in and be like, let's go to Costa Rica. That's on my bucket list. No, I love the foundation piece of it. I love the work that you're doing and being mindful as well as just bringing this energy into focus, because you're right, here in the United States, we are all about work. And all work, no play, but, being able to go out and play and having health and wellness and mindfulness and meditations and the full moon meditations. So as we wrap up the last section of the show here, there's a book you may have heard about called The Farmer's Almanac. It was founded in 1792, so it's been around for a little bit, and it talks about the Mercury retrograde that's coming up. And we've got a lot of energy right now. So we've got a full moon. Mercury retrograde starts August 13th, runs through September 5th. I know that I leave on September 4th, so I'm very mindful of Mercury retrograde. How does that impact traveling? What recommendations would you give for Mercury retrograde, or do you actually, keep an eye on that at all?
Well, and this is something that's different for everybody. I think, not all of our travelers know what that is or would, entertain a concept like that. And so, the advice that we give is pretty across the board, that it's going to make your trip better regardless. And it's really just to smile. Because the reality is, if there's some level of risk traveling. Flights can be delayed. You're not getting the seat that you want. You're not getting the meal that you want. Whatever it is. The reality is, we're having a human-to-human connection. We're having a person-to-person connection. And that person is just trying to do right by you. We have found, regardless of the time of year that we travel, anywhere we travel in the world, people are inherently good. And they, especially in hospitality, they're there to make you feel happy. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't mean there's not mistakes. It doesn't mean things can go wrong. Oftentimes, a lot of this is out of your control. And so you, as the person who is smiling and who understands that you have to go with the flow a little bit anytime that you travel, it just makes the life of the person who's dealing with you a lot easier. Don't be the 12th person who yelled at them because the flight's delayed. Like that person taking that did not make the flight late, So those are just little tips that it makes everybody happier. I mean, in certain experiences, we always say, get travel insurance. There's ways to do it that's not very expensive. And then at least some of that headache, you might not be able to change your situation, but you can make it hurt a little less if you take some precautions like that.
Yeah, great advice. And, simple stuff. Breathe, smile, mindfulness, and be patient. Proper planning all goes into traveling. Just want to thank you for being on the show. It goes by so quick, especially when we have such interesting topics like this, living well on the road and health and wellness for travelers. But Linden, one more time, just for our inspired listeners, best way that they can search you out. Do you offer discounts for radio show hosts? No, I'm kidding. But if they want to search you out, if our inspired listeners want to search you out, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, just Google Pravassa. You'll find our website. You'll find us we're very active on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can find us there as well. And that's the best way.
And your new book is on all the major outlets as far as Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and it came out. When did it actually come out? What was the month it came out on?
It came out in March of this year.
March. So it's been out there for a couple months now, and you said it's a bestseller, so that's pretty awesome. And we'll put that. We have it on our Facebook page as well, a picture of it, so folks can get to your website and find your book on our Inspired Living Radio page. So, Linden, just want to thank you again for being on the show. It was awesome to have you on. Happy travels. I will take some of the tips as well as I get ready to travel myself, and I look forward to having you back on Inspired Living Radio maybe in 2018.
Thank you. It was so much fun.
All right.
Thank you, Linden.
And with that, Kim, we're going to be closing out the show. We've got a couple minutes here, but we did want to let our inspired listeners know we have a very special show next Wednesday, same time, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. here on OMTimes Radio. We're going to be doing a Facebook Live before our 100th episode. We're going to be celebrating, doing readings, taking callers, talking about our favorite shows that we've done over the last 2 years. And we've covered, I think, every topic, wouldn't you say, Kim, from medicine to metaphysics to meditation to today, traveling.
That's right. That's right. We've had you're right. We've covered the gamut here. So it's been, there's been a lot that we've learned over the last couple of years.
Oh yeah, and I bet that's why I love doing the radio, because I've just learned some, and we've gotten to talk to some amazing people, people that we normally wouldn't talk to in our our day-to-day activities, and teachers and doctors and sports athletes, professional sports athletes. I mean, it's been quite a journey, but we just want to let the inspired listeners know that we're going to be going live on a Facebook Live. Kim and I are going to join up together in a joint video. We're going to do that at 11:15, 11:30 Pacific Standard Time. So I guess that would be 2:30 Eastern Standard Time for you, Kim, because Kim's now on the East Coast. And we're going to be taking questions, so it's a good way to interact with us, maybe get a free reading, what's going on. And again, just talking about our favorite shows as we celebrate our 100th episode of Inspired Living Radio here on OMTimes Radio. And again, we just want to thank our inspired listeners for being part of the global community. And our special guest today, Linden Schaffer, calling in from New York to share her thoughts and philosophy and knowledge around traveling and health and wellness for traveling. So we'll be back next week for our 100th episode of Inspired Living Radio. Until then, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. Namaste.
Namaste.